choosing to con us. You're choosing to believe her.
I'll tell you what, this might be my favorite series of the whole year. This is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to tell you, I watched this.
Love you, Joe.
I watched this all in one sitting. And
wow.
My came down. And she was like, I know exactly what this is. She joined me. I think the hardest part about this series is I couldn't hit play fast enough for the next episode. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So first question I have for you is, this series is inspired by the true events of Natalia Grace. Were either of you familiar with her case before signing on? And how did knowing the real life story and background shape your approach to the roles?
I feel like it's different for both of us. So you go ahead and I'll go after you.
So I was aware of the documentary, hadn't seen it. And then was approached about the role, and I read the pilot script in a Bible, and I met the writers, then I met Imogen, and I was like, okay, I see how we can do this. Imogen was really the key for me, how we could pull it off. And then, Katie Robbins and Sarah Sutherland, our writers, are so thoughtful and really wanted to make the right version of this story, because I think, how I've been describing it is, what's interesting about life is that two people can watch the same exact event and come away with two completely different stories of what they just witnessed, right? That's really what this is. I mean, everybody keeps saying sort of true story or true crime when, whose truth?
And I think for me, yes, of course, also knew the story. I mean, it was sort of impossible not to know, be familiar with it. But very much for this character, since you've seen the show, and I won't spoil it for anyone, but in order to play Valika and really do justice to Valika, there was an element of sort of blinders that I needed. I needed to have a tunnel vision to have this devoted love for Christine. So there were elements that the way I looked at it is like being a juror, where I sort of sequestered myself to some extent in order to be able to stay in this orbit.
And same, I didn't really, I ended up watching the documentary because it took so long to bring this to the screen because we had a strike and there was a lot going on. But yeah, you have to stay in a place of non-judgment to be able to, because once you're judging, you're back here watching it. So you can't possibly be in it. So if you're playing the character, you're inhabiting the character, you're jumping in the water. And you can get out of the pool and stand back and judge it later. But you can't judge it if you're going to...
You can't do justice to the story.
Yeah.
Ellen, you disappear in this role as Christine Barnett.
I like this guy. I like him. Why aren't you here in person with us?
Listen, if my little girl's sick, I would be, but I got. But look, there was no signs of Meredith Grey in here whatsoever, and this is a really good chance for you to showcase a different side of your range. And you do such a tremendous job in this role. What drew you to Christine, and can you talk about your preparation to play her?
Sure. I think just that. I think I saw it as an opportunity to disappear into the role. And then I had so much fun working with our writers and our costumers and our hair and makeup department. And that's the fun thing about a role like this is you get to collaborate with all these professionals who are just the best at what they do. And we help create this character together. The costumers and I had so much fun. They're so good at what they do. And they just were like, we should do this. And sometimes I'll be like, well, what about this? No, Ellen, that's too hip. We're not doing that. And then, they really know best. And we just had so much fun collaborating and creating this person that I could disappear into. So I can't take all the credit. I had a lot of help and I had amazing co-stars. And when it's working and firing on all cylinders, it's always a great collab with everybody.
Incredible. Now, Sarayu, I got to ask, because Val is such a steady force for Christine, especially before Natalia enters the picture. She really establishes who Christine is before things start to unravel. What can you tell us about Val and her unwavering loyalty to Christine?
Yeah, I mean, what a challenge, to some extent. I think one of the things that was really important to me for Valika was like this building her out fully, right? Building that whole background, which you really see right in the beginning, but for me has to live within me well before we start the show. And I think that what you see is there's this moment where Christine runs this daycare, and because of Christine, she helps Valika navigate this relationship with her neurodivergent daughter. So that moment really crystallizes this bond, this love, this belief in Christine and what she can do, and that she's in some, like that she's a whole other level of magic in Valika's eyes, right? Like you people don't understand is what you start to see her saying. And I think that beginning had to have a lot of history to get to that beginning so that then we can see where she gets to by the end.
Incredible. Look, the show is absolutely incredible. I can't wait for people to watch this on the 19th. And I'm going to tell you, it's such a bingeable series. It's going to be hard for them to wait week to week. But
thank you
guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Folks just love a good American family.